Okay, welcome to week number 1 of your weekly module here in the Holocaust Study Abroad, Option 2 mini course here. Let me get started by telling you that I'm going to keep this kind of short, just give you an overview of this week's video assignment, reading assignment, and so on. Alright, we're going to start off by reading chapters 1, 2, and 3 of Bauer's book. But when I was talking about Bauer, I'm talking about the history of the Holocaust, the major textbook you have. It's a very important textbook. Yehuda Bauer is considered one of the world's most prominent authors, scholars, researchers, academics in the world of Holocaust studies. I've had the honor of being in his presence for a number of classes over in Israel at different times. So, Chapter 1, Bauer gets into the idea of genocide, explains to us a little bit about the history of genocide, not in great depth, that there are other genocides that have occurred, such as the Armenian genocide in 1915, and that there are certain characteristics that all genocides do share, which we'll be exploring a little later on. The second part of that chapter, he deals with who are the Jews. What are Jews? A lot of people don't understand them. They think that the Jews are a separate race. Whereas the Jews are not a race, they are a religion. Anybody of any race can become a Jew. You can choose to be Jewish. All right. I have 2 Asian children. They were born in Korea. They're Jewish. They were adopted at a very young age as infants. And we converted them and raised them as Jews. That's their religion. They are Jews. But they're Asian in race. But that's okay. So you need to understand that. And then the next part of this week's chapter is going to deal with anti-Semitism. What is this thing called anti-Semitism? Translated simply, it's hatred of the Jews. Where does it come from? Where did it start? Where does it have its deepest and earliest roots? And you're going to see that it was within Christianity that it had its deepest roots. And the Nazis did not invent anti-Semitism. Nazis did not invent anti-Semitism or Jewish hatred in any way. Well, what they did was they took it to a level that no other hate group or civilization had ever taken it before in history. A good example of that would be to categorize the progression of history as 3 major steps. Originally, the world's attitude towards the Jews when they discriminated against them said, "You may not live here, out." So they were dispersed. Expelled, expulsion was the answer. And so we have what's called the Jews of the diaspora, because they were dispersed. The dispersion of the Jews throughout all the other lands from their original homeland, the Holy Land. Next, we see history saying, okay, you may not live here as a Jew. And we see that during the Inquisition, the Crusades, that if you convert, we'll let you stay. So first it's you may not live here. Then it's you may not live here as a Jew. And so we go to the third step, is where the Nazis take the last 2 steps to an extent that no one else had ever taken it before. And the Nazis say now, if you are a Jew, you may not live. That's it. That's the end of that sentence. There's no escape clause there. And so the Nazis were hell-bent on a total annihilation of all world Jewry, starting with European Jewry, which was quite a large number. There were about 11 million Jews living in Europe at the time. Just an amount that was staggering in some countries. They represented about 1/3 of the population in Poland, at least. And so what we see again is that progression. You may not live here. You may not live here as a Jew. You may not live, period. And that was the progression. And then the last major topic that we're going to explore here with Bauer in the first 3 chapters is World War I, the aftermath of World War I, and how that set the stage for the development of what eventually becomes World War II, and the role of the Jews as far as victims or persecuted people during the pre-World War II years and then into World War II, when we actually see what we now call the Holocaust occur. And if we look at the Nazi period of the Holocaust, some scholars say it's 1933 to 1945. It's 1933 when the Nazi Party first comes into power, and all this hatred and laws that you'll be studying against the Jews are put out and enforced, and 1945 when the Holocaust ends. However, we could get technical and say the Holocaust itself does not really start in earnest until about 1941, when the camps are built. But we'll get into that much later on. So for this first week, remember that the chapter essays, three chapters, 3 essays. Just leave a space between each one, put the title of the chapter, and then answer your essay in about a half a page or so, half to 3/4 of a page, all in one file. Submit it right here online. Is due by Thursday night at 11:59. The rest of the module, the reactions to the literature binder, the handouts in there, any other video reactions or reflections, or the journal, all that is due by Sunday night at 11:59 of each week, because that's when the week's module will close down and the following week will open at midnight. Okay, so if you have any questions, please contact me right away by any means. Thanks.